let's get this party started.
Let's do it.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and we're here to, obviously to honor Sharon, and she didn't have a clue this was coming. So anyway, this is one of those times that the thing that I just love the most about my job, when I get to honor and celebrate others, and especially folks that I dearly love. I can't even look at Sharon sometimes. She's just the best team member to have, the best chief nursing officer that I've ever worked with in my 31 years at 4 different hospitals, and she's just an encourager. And anyway, I'm going off script. Let me go back to my script. I think all of us know, in fact, Nate and I were talking about this a moment ago, this is the most challenging time. I hope this is the most challenging time of our careers. I hope we don't have to deal with anything more than bigger than COVID. But we have, Heart and Memorial Health, largely thanks to Sharon's leadership, has performed magnificently through COVID. Sharon, obviously we're here to celebrate your leadership. Over Sharon's 33 years at Hardin, she's risen through the ranks, from staff nurse to educator to department leader, in fact, leader of the largest ER in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, up to the ranks of vice president and chief nursing officer. She's always led and managed others with insight and passion and just outstanding care. Back in December, Sharon actually started monitoring this COVID situation, and I believe, Sharon, you had the very first meeting in January, even though Kentucky did not have its first case until the first week in March. So Sharon was already on the ball planning for our response to COVID. During the pandemic, she's taken on a new title, and we were joking about this yesterday, Incident Commander. She's still the Incident Commander of Hardin's emergency response, COVID response. In this role, she's coordinated a whole host of hospital leaders, partnered and communicated with local and state organizations, and led outstandingly through COVID-19 for patients, staff, and community members. She is the consummate servant leader and, as I said a moment ago, the best CNO. So now I want to introduce Sheila Smallwood, who's one of Sharon's closest friends and also a colleague, and I think you got some stories to tell there.
Oh. Just know that I have some stories too. I bet they give me a turn.
So Sharon and I met in nursing school about 35 years ago. And we started our journey here together as nurses. I started on the peds unit. Sharon recruited me to come to critical care, and where she was my preceptor and my mentor, and ultimately my partner in crime. I can tell you that over the past 35 years, 36 years, we have been the best of friends, and friends that I don't even know how to describe it. She is more like my sister, honestly, than she is my best friend. We went through all the milestones together. You know, we were new nurses trying to figure things out, trying to stay out of trouble. We got into a little bit of trouble from time to time, although it really wasn't my fault, it was hers. Just so you know. We got married together, we had our kids together. She tried to help me learn how to cook. She even gave me a recipe. I'd do the recipe and she'd say, "Don't tell anybody that was my recipe." Way bad, way bad. But like most really good cooks, they just assume people that cook know how to cook. I didn't know how to cook. She didn't tell me to blend the pudding. I mean, I shook it up in a jar like it said on the package. So obviously it didn't turn out very well. But, you know, we've kind of both taken different paths a little bit. I can tell you that, and this is even a story on Dennis. So Sharon and I both put in for the CNO position. And this is just to tell you how our friendship is. You know, we're still the best of friends. Dennis chose Sharon, which was absolutely the best choice. And I was so relieved that he did. I didn't really tell anybody that. But she is. And from the time that we were nurses on the floor, she was a true mentor. She was always encouraging people to be their very best. She has made me a much better person and a much better leader. And I can't even begin to express, from the housekeepers to the nursing assistants to the staff. You know, patient care has always been her focus, and it's always been her #1 priority. That's what she really loves. And she loves nursing, but she loves everybody else as well. Yeah. And she has developed leaders that I've seen grow under her over the years. That's unbelievable. And she's helped me grow as a leader. She actually helped me as a nurse to grow in critical care. You know, I love her with all my heart, and I'm not going to cry. But she knows that her and I have been through some challenging times, and we have a bond that even me and my own sisters don't have. It's that bond. And then I'll leave you all with one last story, mainly because there's lots of stories I could tell. But like she said, because I was in on that story, I don't really want it to get out. But I will tell this story about going to some of the pharmacy conventions when we were looking at IV pumps. And so we went to a couple, and one particular that we went to, as we went through and got all the free stuff, of course, they always want you to leave a name or a business card of somebody to contact. So we did. It was Kevin Sullivan. So everywhere that we went to get our free stuff, Kevin Sullivan was the name that we put down. And we didn't tell him, but when he started getting all these phone calls, he wasn't very happy. And then one that we went to, Steve was a part of, that actually had to help us get our luggage to the airport. They complained about it the whole time, about how heavy it was. And of all things, when we get there, we had to pay an extra $25 because we were over our limit. So this is well deserving of Sharon. I'm proud that she is my friend. That's what I'm most proud of all of her achievements. I think it's hard to be my friend, and she's achieved that. So she's, you know, I'm a very lucky person. So anyway, I love you.
Don't forget your mask, General.
Thank you, Sheila. And Sheila does a phenomenal job as the executive over our employee medical group. And we affectionately refer to Sheila as the little general. So thank you, Sheila, for those remarks. Now it's my honor to introduce Mike Bowers. Mike and his wife Dana founded iPay Technologies several years ago, which iPay was still is a hugely successful online bill provider. Mike is also the founder and leader of SB Holding Group. Mike serves on numerous community boards, including the Hart Memorial Health Foundation. Mike is passionate about community and people, and he serves as a mentor to many, including, unfortunately, me. Mike took on me as a project a few years back, so, but it's my honor to introduce Mike Bowers. Mike.
You know, it's funny. I bear no responsibility for the outcome, but it was nice to talk to Dennis from time to time. And all the hats that I do wear in this community, I'm here differently. Dana and I both are here differently today. We're just ordinary citizens of Hardin County that are delighted and honored with the hard work that this hospital and everybody in this room does, and especially you, young lady. Unbelievable. You probably don't remember it, but the first time we met, it was the pre-opening of the emergency room. There was a buffet thing. The marketing department was way ahead of the construction crowd, and so we all were wearing hard hats. But Dennis gave an incredible introduction of you. And so up comes this tall blonde. Hey, look, it's my story. I'll talk. That's the way I
I've never been described that.
But she started a presentation about the ER and the theme you had put together and what you intended to do. And in less than 2 minutes, I was hooked. This lady was phenomenal. And I told Dennis, I said, you know, this is a very special lady, and we're all lucky to have her. And so the more I found out about her, you know, I realized that she's an incredibly strong woman of faith, incredibly strong woman. And I guess, you know, we're talking about caring and dedication. She certainly epitomizes all of that. But I guess when you grow up in Glasgow, you have to be kind of a strong woman. I get that. And that's where she did as a teenager and graduated from Glasgow High School as a valedictorian, obviously. And then she I didn't realize that you were over in Barron County. That's where you first started your as an LPN over there. And started at Hardin Memorial in 1987. And I don't really have T-shirts that go back that far. 1987 at the age of 23, and it's effectively really just kind of grown up here. And outside of the HMH, which is kind of hard to do when you begin to look at the number of hours she has, that she does have something outside of HMH, but she's an active supporter of her alma mater, which is ECTC, and served as the co-chair of the recent capital campaign. Good for you, good for you. She's very active in her church family, and most recently serving as a significant resource to the congregation during the pandemic. And so when you read down there, it's just your typical overnight success story. You really are special lady. And you know, this kind of effort, this kind of dedication needs to be celebrated. And I had an opportunity a number of years ago, and Dennis remarked that we had a company called iPay Technology, and one of my chief competitors was a guy up in New Jersey, and his name was Matt Lawler. And always a gentleman, always a great competitor, and we both sold our companies and started doing other stuff. And he started this company, and he's become a very, very good friend of mine. He started this foundation, but he started it in 2013, way before it was fashionable to care about everybody that's in this room and the job you're doing, way before the 600 pizzas and the 23,000 Chick-fil-A's. He has a great amount of foresight, a great friend, and a great gentleman, and we'll hear more about that foundation in a minute. But had an opportunity to decide who we wanted to nominate, because I'm a supporter there of the foundation. And Dana and I, with some help from some very close friends here in the room, here's what we sent to him. And that is that Sharon began marshaling resources as Dennis stepped over my lines. Sorry, Michael. Sharon began marshaling resources to help Hardin Memorial Health prepare for the new coronavirus in early January 2020, long before other health systems. From those early days until now, she assembled a large multidisciplinary team and served as their tireless leader and HMH's incident commander. I love that title. Love that title. This meant every nuance and detail of the HMH COVID-19 response fell ultimately on her shoulders. Not only did she do a perfect job of leading through others, but Sharon also spent countless hours herself researching, studying, collaborating with other hospitals and physicians, and challenging the HMH team to find creative and collaborative ways to keep patients and the HMH team safe. She did this work by ensuring that the HMH team took the best care possible of the normal patient population. We sometimes forget that. For example, under her leadership, HMH transformed regular critical care rooms into negative pressure rooms, which protected staff more effectively, and this was done almost overnight. Sharon's team produced personal protective equipment when others struggled, and today a warehouse here in Elizabethtown serves as a sterilization hub for the N95 mask used throughout the Baptist Health Kentucky system. Even more importantly, Sharon paid keen attention to her team's emotional and physical well-being during the most trying times in our healthcare system's history. She selflessly worked 24/7 most days during these critical times, but yet always found time to return emails, answer questions, speak to the media, our community partners, or check on her team. And there's so many other examples of Sharon Wright's passion for her patients, her love for others during the pandemic, and they make her a consummate servant leader and reason for much of HMH success. You are a very special lady. Can we give this? So today, joining us today is from the Ceca Foundation, the president of the Ceca Foundation, Nate Holm. Nate, glad to have
you. Well, thank you. As the person that probably is recognized by the fewest people here, I'll try to keep it most brief, which I tend to have a problem with, and I'll probably get a little misty-eyed here as well. So thank you, Dennis, and particularly as well to Karen and Tracy and Sheila and really Mike, who made doing this all possible. Now Mike told me not to tell Matt this, but he called him a close personal friend. And when our nonprofit Ceca Foundation, and Ceca is celebrating caregivers, CECA, we were sort of looking for an opportunity here when COVID-19 struck to step up our impact and do a set of special awards for caregivers during the pandemic. And Mike stepped up as well. He gave us a generous donation. It allowed us to do more to honor nurses, CNAs, housekeepers, and others at our partner healthcare communities, mostly in the Mid-Atlantic, but growing here into the Midwest. And when we asked Mike who we thought deserved to be recognized with this, it took him about 0.38 seconds to get back to us with Sharon's name. I've had the opportunity and really the honor over the years to present hundreds of awards to healthcare workers. Our philosophy at Ceca Foundation, sort of at its essence, is that it's relatively simple, that the best way to promote a patient-centric culture is to recognize and reward those who do the essential, often physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually taxing work of creating one at healthcare communities. So our founders, Matt and Rosemary Lawler, were themselves actually inspired to create Ceca by witnessing the acts of compassion and companionship afforded to Matt's mother, Mary, at a continuing care community in Washington, D.C. for over 10 years prior to her passing in 2013. Mary's story was a notable one, and this is where I usually get a little bit choked up. So during the Second World War, she volunteered for the Women's Army Corps. She was stationed in London during the V2 Blitzkrieg, and would later lead the first platoon of women in a landing craft across the English Channel to Omaha Beach. She remembered her platoon climbing these steep cliffs and staying in tents nearby for a week before traveling to Paris in an Army truck. After working on General Eisenhower's staff in post-war Berlin, she met and married a career Army officer, spawned 6 unruly kids, as Matt likes to say, and moved around the world representing our country. And while the Lawler family is very deservedly very proud of Mary's life work and her story, which is a unique one, every person who comes through the doors of Hardin Memorial Health is an individual with a rich story of their own. Triumphs, joy, sadness, tragedies, and in coming to a place like Hardin Memorial, it may very well be some intense combination of all of those things. So Sharon, it's very clear from everything that's been said and everything that I've heard behind the scenes and whispers that over the course of these last 4 decades, nearly 4 decades at Hardin Memorial, you've touched thousands upon thousands of those individuals' lives. And that includes many people in this room. So whether providing compassionate care to human beings in time of need, or lifting the spirits of your teammates with acts of service, leadership, and kindness, you're a shining example of what it means to be a caregiver. A wise woman once said, "Above all, we are God's servants, and we are here to care for each other. If we don't care, we're just in the wrong field." And that woman was you, actually. So you've made nursing your calling and life's work, and we're so very pleased to be able to represent ourselves here and celebrate you and to say thank you. I've got a few small gifts with me here, and I know that passing them along with 6 feet of distance is probably not easy, but I'll just let you know sort of what they are, and then we can have you open them later. So the first is a personalized card that hopefully brings a smile to your face. And then the second inside the box is a custom mask that was made that unfortunately will hide the smile as soon as you put it on. And then I'm sort of embarrassed because I spent all this morning baking. And I know you have a passion for baking yourself, so I brought you a couple dozen cookies for you or for your family or for your team, whatever you want to do with them. And in order of operation, you have to take the mask off before eating them. At the suggestion of your colleagues, and because we know how supportive you are of Hardin Memorial and of the employees here, we've also made a donation in your name to the Hardin Memorial Health Foundation, which you've been obviously an avid supporter of over the years. And then the last one, I have here in my pocket, and you can see I'm wearing one too myself. It's a little Ceca pin. It's basically our emblem in a little gold pin, and we give it to all of the people we present with the Ceca Award. And the goal there is really that you got something to remind you how much the patients, your teammates, your team members here care about you, love you, and respect the hard work that you put in day and day out. So hopefully you can put it somewhere special, not put it through the wash like I have several times, and have it remind you of all that. So I really appreciate everybody letting me join you here. I made it a point to come and spend a night in Louisville and try to have some hot chicken and make it down here just to celebrate with you a little bit. It's one of the great parts of my job, but as Mike said, you're truly a very special person, and we're so thankful that there are people like you out there doing the work. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nate, for those comments about Sharon, and thanks for the fine work that Ceca does to recognize outstanding caregivers like Sharon. Sharon, we all love you, and we love you because of your Christian leadership. We love you because you're passionate, patient care. I think we love you more because of your encouragement and your friendship. So, thank you. All right, let's celebrate.
I would hug you, but
Well, you've been places.
I know I have. She put my mask back on.
Go to Sheila back, right?
Sorry, that wasn't in the script, so.
You're back.
Well, gosh, I don't know what to say. I will say that nursing and leadership are truly a calling. And that's the first priority in my life, is serving God. And I'm reminded of a scripture that if you do it to the least of those, you've done it for me. And that I have to remind myself of that a lot. That every person that we touch, that we are the extension of God. After that, I think it would be my family. That when Sheila talks about our challenges, we truly understand the challenges that we've both faced in our families. And of all the things that have been said, her words are probably most meaningful to me because of the journey that we've shared as human beings, as nurses, as mothers and wives. And then I don't feel like I deserve this. There are so many leaders here, and I just this morning on our senior huddle said, I feel like I'm leading in the dark Our numbers are up, the state numbers are up, and despite everything that we do, COVID continues to challenge even the most seasoned leaders. But I take a great honor in being the one chosen by God and by Dennis to lead this team, and I'm humbled to serve them. That's truly how I feel about it every day. I'm just so humbled by the community and the support that we have had these few months, and we keep saying, when's this gonna be over? When's it gonna be over? And I see it in our team members' faces. I see it in the docs' faces. It's like you want this to be over, and it's not over. And at the close of the night, I was still, last night, close to midnight, thinking about what do we do next, because you could almost sense it in the air here, that the surge is coming. And when I went to sleep, I thought, I know Hardin Memorial is the safest place in Hardin County right now.
Amen.
That of all the places you could go, this organization is safe. And we have done everything as an organization and as a community, and the support we have had from this community is just unbelievable. So I wish there was a way this award could be like the whole community, because it has not been one person or one organization. Just yesterday, we got a letter from a company that donated 1,000 masks and wanted to make sure that we had what we needed to take care of our community. And of all the challenges of COVID, the good thing is that we have gotten back to what's really important in life, and that's people, and that's relationships, and serving and following a God that has an eternal future for us. So I'm humbled to be the leader here. I'm humbled by the kind words of all of you, and I hope it brings glory to God.